Hey, hey, hey. What's up, Big
Everyone, listen up. You didn't lose your money. Now you have your technically you kind of lost your money.
And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentleman of Crypto, episode 1289. Today is Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, and I'm King here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. ish. And today's top stories: U.S. Senator hints Trump's latest executive order could mean the U.S. is buying Bitcoin. U.S. Treasury sued for giving Elon Musk Doge access to sensitive info. Coinbase accused of neglecting security, costing users up to $300 million annually. Ethereum tops $2,900 as Eric Trump says it's a great time to add Ethereum. And more than 50% of validators signal to increase Ethereum gas limit and more. But first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a very quick look at these prices, see what's going on in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And per usual, I mean, we have been on a great run. The prices are still looking strong. You took my advice from the other day. You should increase your portfolio size an easy 7 to 8%, if not a whole 10 or 15%. So that was a quick little win in the last 24 hours. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. All right, Bitcoin is coming in $99,827, up 3.31%. Ethereum is at $2,800. Can't even keep that $2,900 mark after the president's son make a comment. Up 7.3% now. Ripple at $2.65, up 11.3. Solana at $2.13, up 6.8. Number 9, Cardano at 77 cents, up 7.7%. And number 10, Tron at 22 cents, up 1.39%. And again, I mentioned it yesterday for those who have ever taken classes, the course, anything like that. Yesterday to today was an easily tradable day. Like, I don't want to hear you haven't made capital with me, okay? I like literally just gave you the layup yesterday to make an easy minimum 8%. Like, everyone should have made that little 8% yesterday to today. So you can't say you haven't had a chance to make capital here. Like, that was the layups of layups of yesterday when that little dip happened. Fear and greed index is at a 45. Bitcoin dominance at a 60.26%. Ethereum dominance at 10.33%. Again, not saying much to me about Ethereum as they get a nod from the president's son. And we'll talk about it, but it looks like they have some more things on the horizon to do its best to pump its price, because that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to pamp it as best as they can. Memories and Mike, what up, though? Junior May League, topping them top. Chloe Dior, El Dabnum, got a lot of STO solo. Hey, y'all saw the I'm working on my thumbnail game, baby. Okay, that was the first one. I got some stuff in the mix. Okay, we got good thumbnails coming. I gotta get back to it. Shout out to Antonio, of course, too. Antonio always takes care of this channel. He says he'll do them for free for forever, but these guys know I don't want to use them for free. All right, so I got to work on my own stuff. I'm working on the thumbnail game in the background. All right, we're gonna have some good stuff. I told you, it's good stuff coming aggressively here soon. All right, top story of the day. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop straight into it. U.S. Senator is excited. They're hinting that, hey, with this new executive order that Trump's pushing out of there, the U.S. could be buying Bitcoin. Wyoming Senator Cynthia Loomis, if anyone you want to call Bitcoin mom, hey, why not her, suggested Donald Trump's executive order creating a U.S. sovereign wealth fund was a big deal for Bitcoin. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order directing the government to create a sovereign wealth fund, with industry as advocates and at least one lawmaker suggesting the action could lead to the government acquiring Bitcoin. Trump signed the EO executive order in a February 3rd press conference or press event in the Oval Office, directing Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and his Secretary of Commerce pick Howard Lutnick to begin a process that will hopefully result in the creation of an American sovereign wealth fund. According to Bessent, the EO would be enacted within the next 12 months and monetize the asset side of the U.S. balance sheet. Couple things. If you remember, I've been saying that, hey, there probably would be a plan in the next 3 weeks at a minimum. So to me, this is on par with that. Maybe not a well thought out plan, but the plan that had the fun is here. So to me, that really took like a week before they came up with a kind of, hey, a way forward, and that way forward is going to be some type of fund or whatever. Now they've clearly here they've established in the next year they have to actually do it. That's fair. And the last thing I want to point out is how they mentioned monetizing the asset side of the U.S. balance sheet. Again, these are the little dirty games that institutions, organizations, and governments alike play. And I'm actually glad it looks like this administration looks as though they're serious about this, because the games that all these people play is that they say, hey, with one asset on the balance sheet, we're saying this is an asset and a debt at the same time. It makes entirely no sense. But essentially, if I were to loan you $5 on the US balance sheet, on the Treasury balance sheet, on the Federal Reserve, and most institutions and organizations who know how to play with the funny money, what essentially they'll do is say, hey, we loaned you this $5. Even though that is a debt, that is clearly a debt. They don't have the $5. You have the $5. It should be a debt on their balance sheet. They do write it as a debt. They do say this $5 missing is a debt. But on the same exact balance sheet, they say, but this $5 is also an asset because we have interest rates going out on it, or we're taxing it, or whatever else, right? But in reality, it's like, no, that's not an asset. It's just a debt. Okay. But again, that's a whole nother conversation about how our US economy is in debt the way it is now, and why things don't make sense, and why eggs and milk keep costing more than what they should. That has all to do with the way people are balancing their balance sheets. And by people, I'm talking about the government and government organizations and multi-billion-dollar companies and corporations. All right. So I get exactly what they're trying to do. And one of the ways to do that would be actually adding assets, right? So I think it's the hope of Senator Loomis that some of those assets being added would be Bitcoin. Of course, in the past, we've already talked about gold and some of the other harder assets that have been here in the past or whatever. So the bottom line is, though, is they're going to have some type of treasury fund or some type of fund for the United States. So they didn't establish whether the fund would invest in cryptos like Bitcoin. I think that was a big deal, because if it were to invest in that, I think this would be a good time to wave the flag. But they suggested the government could purchase TikTok. The video sharing app is still subject to law requiring by its parent company, ByteDance, to divest its U.S. business or face a potential ban. That actually wouldn't be a terrible thing. I don't know how that will play out, essentially having a nationalized TikTok, a nationalized social media app, but interesting nonetheless. Wyoming Senator Cynthia Loomis posted an X after the EO signing to hint that the sovereign wealth fund could be used to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin advocate Wayne Bond said he also called on the U.S. government to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Said Bisson and Lutnick both like Bitcoin and could set up the wealth fund to invest in crypto. So here's the thing. Initially, it was an official Bitcoin reserve. Now they're saying a U.S. funded reserve, or whatever they're calling it now, is a sovereign wealth fund instead of a Bitcoin reserve. I think this kind of said what they're planning to do right here, right? I think they plan to actually do the Bitcoin reserve. Maybe they already got whether there's a pushback or preliminary information that, hey, we might be too early on this. Regardless of what it is, I think they may be trying to get away from the Bitcoin reserve and just going after this quote unquote sovereign wealth fund, and then adding Bitcoin. That way you can say, hey, we have 10%, 12% exposure to Bitcoin with the sovereign wealth fund. You would still satisfy the Bitcoin maximalists. You would satisfy the crypto crowd with this. And at the same time, you can keep the traditional crowd happy, the Wall Street and the banks happy, saying, hey, I could have did 100% Bitcoin reserve, but instead I did a 10% with 90% cash and hard assets or social media companies and whatever, right? So I think that's taking a great stance as far as compromising, saying that, hey, find the Bitcoin and crypto folks don't get their own reserve, but neither does the traditional system. We're not going to keep printing out cash and claiming this is a real reserve either. We're going to put some hard assets in there, whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's actually a social media company like TikTok. So again, I agree with the move. Not mad at it. I'm with Senator Loomis. This does hint at the fact that we could possibly get Bitcoin into this sovereign wealth fund. But again, I'm not holding my breath, only because they would have kind of announced it. So I think they're still trying to work it on the back end to see how it works. But regardless, 12 months, we should have an update as far as what it will look like, will it be created, and exactly what is inside of it. But I tell you what, sorry, XRP, if they're saying we don't know about Bitcoin, they definitely don't know about no altcoins. All right, that is to be sure. So all is well, though. I mean, I do think this is a good thing. The fact that we have Bitcoin in the news, the way it's in the news in a positive light, talking about a reserve fund is great. A, and then B, if you remember now, we're at about what 5 to 6 states that have already signaled for a Bitcoin reserve. That's them telling, this is what I'm talking about. That's them telling the United States nation that, hey, we are ready for this. Now, what I will say is some of the slowdown is that it's only 6 states. Again, we need to be pumping out a new state every 3 or 4 days. Every week, really, we need a new state to raise their hand. So I think right now that's why we're still at that sovereign wealth fund state instead of a Bitcoin reserve stage or whatever. If we see those 6 states flip to another 12 to 15 here in the next month and a half, 2 months, or the next 12 months while they're doing their research and processing this, if we see more states start to flip and say, we want that Bitcoin reserve, you better believe that sovereign wealth fund may include, forget 10%, we may see up to 40%, 60% of Bitcoin in that fund, which would be amazing to see as well. So we'll see what happens. All right. What else do we have? US Treasury. Here we go. I was waiting for this to happen. Listen, that people are talking about how bad it's crazy the US has gotten, the incidents at schools we have and all this other stuff. As someone once said, the chickens have come home to roost. Okay. I just enjoy watching the show. And this is a part of the show right here. We knew that South African boy and Elon had no business with an American leadership position, but it happened anyway. Honestly, I'm starting to think that Trump put Elon in charge of Doge and all this other stuff so that the United States government could spend the first 2 years going after Elon and leave Trump alone. At this point, that's what it's looking like. It looks like he set him up to be the fall guy, the fall man in the first 2 quarters of his presidency. That way he can run around and go crazy without anyone noticing. I'm truly starting to believe this. But again, who didn't see this coming? I definitely did. I kept mentioning, why do we have a South African in charge of United States based things? Like, national security is just screaming right now. But U.S. Treasury has been sued for giving Elon Musk's Doge access to sensitive info. That's right. The U.S. Treasury was accused of unlawfully allowing Elon Musk and his government efficiency organization access to millions of Americans' personal and financial data. Something that's really funny as an aside. I saw someone on social media the other day arguing about taxes and how everyone should pay taxes and how the rich keep trying to skirt around them and they should pay them, and tax. And yeah, we all should do it. They're just gun ho to be licking boots. But this is my issue with things like taxes and all these other government laws and regulations that's going around. The government is going against each other at this point. So why are we listening to them? I'm not saying there should be anarchy and we shouldn't listen to anyone and it just be crazy. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that legitimately we now have a government that is super split. I'm here in California where the government, which by the way, again, do that research on Governor Newsom and his family, do the research on Brown and his family, and Pelosi and their family, you'll find out that it used to be bootleggers. They were real criminals that took over the state of California. But that's a whole nother story. The point is, the state of California is pushing back against the federal government, but the state of California wants its citizens to listen to the state, right? But not the federal government. Then you have the federal government, which has now hired to me, a foreign adversary in Elon Musk to head some of our actual national processes, procedures, and have information on our citizens, which we'll get into in a second. So you got Trump, the president of the United States, backing a South African to do this for our government. And then you have the rest of our government saying, no, this is wrong. We're suing you all and we're going after you. So once again, who do I listen to? The president and the South African, or do I listen to the rest of our government saying no? I am confused. Yet it's tax season and you all want me to pay you to do what again? Like, I am super confused on how this government in America is working. Who are we listening to? And why are they fighting each other, but at the same time expecting us to be good little boys and girls? This is all crazy to me. But hey, I know you're going to do what you're told, so keep on doing what you're told. Let's read this story. The U.S. Treasury was accused of unlawfully allowing Elon Musk and his government efficiency organization access to millions of Americans' personal and financial data. Woo! Union groups have sued the U.S. Treasury, accusing it of breaking federal laws by giving Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency enforcers access to sensitive financial and personal information. Again, I want to reiterate that we have a government agency named after Dogecoin, which was a joke meme coin. It was intentionally, the founder said this was a joke. This is the test. This is so because when Dogecoin was created, for those who don't know, when Dogecoin was created, there weren't any or many altcoins or other cryptocurrencies where you can just like practice. There weren't practice cryptocurrencies. There was Bitcoin and other real cryptocurrencies trying to do real projects. No one felt comfortable saying, hey, I'm going to do test transactions. I'm going to send you a certain amount to see if it gets, like, no one felt comfortable doing that with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies the way the technology originally was. That is why Dogecoin was invented. Dogecoin was invented to say, hey, there's billions of these things. It doesn't matter. This is fake. You can transact, you can give it to your kids, you can play with it, and everyone can learn about wallets and cryptocurrency without losing any real money. That is why Dogecoin was established. And instead of keeping it on that same trajectory, on that same mission, as yes, technically your technology, but your technology to learn about the real technology. Instead of it being that, it was hijacked into being, no, guys, this is going to be a real investment vehicle. We can get it up to $1, not because of its value, but because we're literally just trying to pump it up there to make money. And then to add more insult, you get a foreign person, a foreign born a citizen, and Elon Musk saying, hey, to be funny, let's take this joke of an investment vehicle and name a government agency after it and start fucking with America. Like, I still don't see the joke in this right now. And honestly, military generals should be trying to hang this guy. But whatever. That's another story, another note. This is crazy to me. But this is essentially what's going on with the government agency now named Doge, the joke of the United States. The American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations, the country's largest union group, sued the Treasury and Secretary Scott Benson. That's reads wrong in the Washington D.C. federal court on February 3rd to stop what is alleged is an unlawful, ongoing, systemic, and continuous disclosure of personal and financial information to Musk and Doge. The scale of the intrusion into individuals' privacy is massive and unprecedented, the AFL-CIO said. People who must share information with the federal government should not be forced to share information with Elon Musk or his Doge. In addition to this, to me, you should not be allowed to be in. Look, here's the deal. You cannot and you should not be allowed to be in charge of any government organization or have access to secret and top secret information in the United States government, and then have private companies, some of which are based in the United States, and then some of which are based abroad. Like, you can't do that. You can't have interests in foreign companies and foreign everything else, but at the same time, and not be a natural born citizen of the United States and then have all this information on U.S. citizens. This has been my beef with banks, and I've said this here on the show so many times when I'm talking to banks. I can't remember what company I was working with the other day where they basically was like, well, we can't do XYZ without having some type of your private information. I was like, well, then you're not going to get it. I guess our business is done here. I'm like, you're a private, you know how many times I have to remind banks, organizations, hell, I'll be having to remind cashiers at CVS and everywhere else. Is like, you are a private company. You work for a private company. You don't get any of my private information unless I want to give it to you. And you can't do your business without it. And fuck it, I guess we're not doing business. Like, it is that simple to me. The problem is, and I've dealt with people like this. I was talking to somebody recently this year where they're like, well, private company XYZ is doing this. I'm like, well, then walk out and don't give them your money. And they're like, well, they're too big anyway. It won't matter. Like, they won't feel. Everyone's not doing it. I'm like, see, this is the mindset so many people have where they're like, well, they're going to get away with it anyway, so I might as well continue to do business with them. And it's like, well, then yes, they will. All it takes is for one person to make a change, and then the change is made by many persons. So this is what we're seeing here in the government as well. We're talking Doge, Elon Musk. He's getting all the Americans' information. No one can stop him. And again, he has his own private companies, which I'm sure he's siphoning that private information too. The lawsuit is the latest challenge to Trump's promise to cut federal spending. Of course, he put Musk in charge of the effort with Doge. The complaint cited a February 1st Blue Sky post from U.S. Senator Ron Wyden, which said that sources has told his office that Benson has granted Doge full access to the Treasury payment system. A day earlier, Wyden had demanded answers for Benson over Musk's Doge access to the system. I don't think you all understand what this means. Like, this is to the Treasury. There, here we go. The payment system at issue includes names, social security numbers, birth dates, birthplaces, home addresses, telephone numbers, email addresses, bank account information of millions of members of the public, according to the suit. This is absolutely insane. So imagine this. Imagine you have 10 or 15 different companies, one of which being X, which you already said you want to turn into a financial company. And then you get the financial reports of every American alive. Like, yeah, we're not going to use that for my private business. We're not going to use that to do some target advertising at the very least. I mean, at the very least, he could just take the reports and sell them to companies one by one. He could sell this report to Meta and make a quick 50 million, turn around and sell it to who else? What other social media companies? I know they all been monopolized by now, so it's not that many people who own them. I don't know, to turn one back around and sell them to Virgin, turn one around, sell them to Amazon. Like you can literally sell these reports to so many different organizations and make so much money. Doge is not a real government agency. He added it has no authority to make spending decisions. It has no authority to shut programs down or ignore federal law. Warren said the system is now at the mercy of Elon Musk, who has the power to suck out all the information for his own use. Wow. The Treasury and the U.S. Doge Service, USDS, the parent agency of Doge, did not immediately respond to requests for comment, nor do I think they will, because why? Like, what can you do to stop them at this point? They're going crazy. And this is another example of the chickens coming home to roost. Y'all done gave us South African. Like, this is what I love too, especially with the social media comments. 13%, 13%. Everything's a 13% fault, right? Everything's black folk fault. Everything black people fault, right? Hey, I guess you're right. Everything is these Africans' fault. These dirty Africans are back in the U.S. doing what we do best, stealing and taking. Ain't that what they say? Seriously, on a serious note, you have a South African getting top like the best access and information to United States citizens. You gotta love it, and I'm happy he's doing what he's doing. These are the chickens coming home to roost. I want to see how our government is going to deal with this now that they realize we are all in this mess together. All right. This is what being an American actually means. You're starting to see it now. He's not saying, no, I'm only going after the white Americans, Treasury reports. I'm only going after black Americans, Mexican. No. He said, I want all them Americans reports from the Treasury on my desk by Monday. All right. He sounded like 50. Man, oh man, oh man. The chickens are coming home to roost. Coinbase accused of neglecting security, costing users up to $300 million annually. To me, the reason why I'm covering this story, I'm surprised this is finally a story. I mean, I think the video on this channel, which has telling you to leave Coinbase, came out in what I want to say 2018, early 2018. So for at least 6 to 7 years, I've been saying to leave Coinbase, and for these type of reasons. And people are like, "Why?" I'm like, "These are the reasons." Like Coinbase is super, like, oh my, it's terrible. But here's something that's not only happening at Coinbase; it's happening at many other exchanges. And again, for it to happen as much as it already has happened, for it to finally be a story was something I had to cover. Coinbase accused of neglecting security, costing users up to $300 million annually. Again, this is why I'm surprised it's a story. For one, it should have already been a story because it's been happening. For two, $300 million annually now. What do you think has been the last 6 or 7 years? My point exactly. And three, Coinbase isn't the only one doing it. Shitrex, I'm looking at you. I know they shut down already, but I guarantee they should owe a ton of people money, including myself. And the day ever comes when the IRS and FBI knocks on my door, I'm giving y'all the reports. I'm getting my money back too. If they come after me for money, we're all getting money together. Okay, it's not going to be a onesie or twosie because some of these exchanges, like Coinbase, also owe me capital as well. Crypto investigators Zach XBT and Tanuki42 claim Coinbase neglected security lapses that cost users more than $300 million annually. Again, I've been screaming this since 2018, and it's not just them, it's every major centralized exchange. And the reason why is because, first and foremost, crypto was made to be peer-to-peer. It wasn't made to be on exchange. It wasn't made to be centralized. So whenever you centralize crypto, you already have a security issue. There's no way of getting around it. The hackers know it. They're coming for it. There's no way of getting around it. The only thing that's been able to secure centralized crypto has been Bitcoin, the Bitcoin blockchain. So when you're talking about that original Bitcoin wallet, the origin wallet that has hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of Bitcoin in it by now, that is security. That has not been hacked. Everything else has been hackable. So first and foremost, as I said, it's not just Coinbase, and this has been going on. So it's kind of surprising to me that in January, February of 2025, after all these years of operating, now they're finding like, okay, this is a big concern. To me, is reading you lost a lot of money on Coinbase, or one of your friends did, and now all of a sudden it's time for an article. Because again, this should have been article after article after articles for the past few years. So it's raising the eyebrow that is just now becoming a concern in 2025 after it's cost users $300 million annually. Like, why are you kidding me? We've been saying this since 2018. Of course, it's costing you $300 million annually. Crypto investigators Zach XBT and Tanuki42 accused Coinbase of failing to address security vulnerabilities and scam incidents that have cost investors millions of dollars each month. Actually, I did miss one point I was going to make, and that point was about the centralized exchanges. The reason why is a problem, the hackers go after all these centralized exchanges, and there will continue to be issues is because this exchanges themselves, like their first priority is making money, right? They're like, especially Coinbase. Coinbase didn't start to say, we want to make sure every citizen has access. Like, no, they want to make money in the crypto market. It is that simple. So when you're starting a new company in a new technological field, like you don't have time to get everyone up to speed on everything. So the first thing that they were doing, they still continue to do is sales. Let's get people to sell our company. Let's get marketing. Let's get advertising. Let's sell. Excuse me, I'm smacking that mic. Let me know if I lose it. But essentially, they're like, let's grow our company. Let's grow the value. Let's grow transactions. It has never been about education at Coinbase. Now that I'll take it back. I won't say never. The last few years, they've actually added stuff. I will say that they've added YouTube videos and Coinbase Learn and things like that. So you're not left behind. But internally, it has not been about education. Internally, I can tell you for a fact that all these exchanges is not about education because oftentimes if you do have a problem, for one, there used to not be support. Now there is support at the very least for most of these platforms. But even though there is support, I'm guaranteeing you there's a foreign person supporting you. So you get on that call center and you're getting that accented voice from a different country. That tells me you're not engaging and you're not qualifying your own team for support. You're outsourcing it. So the reason why this is a problem is because let's say you are getting hacked on a Friday night. This is real for me, right? Getting hacked on a Friday night, you have enough time to stop it. You try to change your password, you reach out to the exchange, and they don't get back to you on until Monday, right? Or they get back to you and don't fully understand your issue, and they're like, "Well, I got to wait till somebody else comes in the office on Tuesday, right?" Or are they got to call somebody? They don't have the education to even support, so they can't fix your problem or stop the problem from happening, or stop a scam or stop a hack. They can't do it in the right time frame because they do not have the educated people or the amount of people who are able to offer that type of support. And again, this is not just a Coinbase centric problem. This is a centralized exchange problem. I'm not totally blaming them. A lot of the blame is to them because all they care is about money first. But I also blame the government because at times when these companies and the exchanges were looking to educate and to add support and people there, the government came down and said, nope, regulations first, compliance departments first, licensing first, bank licenses first, remittances licensing first, and that's costing hundreds of thousands. And we're going to try to sue you. Now you need lawyers, you need litigation. Oh, you might be a security. Oh, you might be a commodity. So it was all of that stuff. That's the other half that made companies say, well, fine. We literally cannot afford or don't have the time to train people and qualify people or to add support to make our company better. Why? Because now we have to buy licenses. We have to go to court with the SEC, and we have to have a compliance department with 3 new people we didn't expect to pay a salary to. Like that quick is what changes it. So, and this is what happens. This is what happens. So I think this is a real story. I don't think it's just Coinbase. I think it's many others. I think they need to be sued for, since everybody want to take the regulatory and old school approach. And I think Coinbase should sue the government right back after they're sued too, to say, hey, we tried to do these things. We want to do these things, but the government's taking so much resources from us. We're not allowed to do these things. So I think, hey, everybody, that's what they want to do, right? Let's tie all this shit in litigation. And the whole time the technology doesn't grow and everything slows down, we continue using the dollar for another 30 years and everybody's happy. That's a traditionalist that claims they want to see a better world, but they really and truly don't. Like that's essentially what's going on here. And like I said, chickens coming home to roost. That should have been the title of the episode. On February 3rd, independent crypto investigator Zach XPT and Tanuki 42 from the Zero Shadow reported that Coinbase users lost more than $65 million in December 2024 and January 2025 alone. So you're talking 30 to 60 days, $65 million. Still, the duo claimed the losses were even higher as their calculations do not consider inaccessible police complaints. Our numbers, I agree with that. I agree with that because when I did a police complaint, again, I had to do a police and FBI report for Bittrex, and nothing ever happened for it, nor did I tell anybody about it. So it was just like, I know that account or amount of money wasn't accounted for that month it happened. So I'm sure there's other people like that as well. So they're saying, yes, his number is more likely lower than what we think because we can't get our hands on all these Coinbase support tickets and police reports. According to their findings, Coinbase users collectively lost more than $300 million in the year to social engineering scams. And again, this is where they steal your cell phone, they port your cell phone number, they take your ID, they call Coinbase and pretend they're you, things of that note. They're saying these threat actors were orchestrated primarily from people from India. And I will agree again. I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to be like that, but They do got a ton of scammers over there and a ton of call centers scamming people in general. It's not just them. The Philippines got some hot spots, and so does the United States, to be real. Miami, I'm looking at you. Don't trust a whole lot of those folks down there. But yeah, so it's not just like it's India. I'll add Miami and Philippines to it too to make sure you all know I'm not being racist. The dirty Miamians, the dirty Indians, and some of the dirty Philippines. Not all of them. All right. I throw all three of us, those dirty American Miami guys out there, guys and gals out there doing some scams of the century, believe me. But seriously, they're saying that with Coinbase specific, this is coming from India. Again, the reason why is because they do have a lock on those call centers, and I'll give them props. They're doing a better job as far as trying to qualify and train and educate people on these systems for support purposes, at least more than the U.S. companies are doing on their own. So at the very least, I give them props as the reason why people keep going to India to get their assistance. But unfortunately, there are a ton of scammers. And again, India has what, 1 point something billion people there. That's to be expected, right? Even if you get less than one, like let's say 99.9% of all of India are good actors, even that 0.01%, like off the top of my head, still could legitimately be what, a million people easy, if not 10 million people. Like it could be some like a obscene number. Let's just say it's a million people. That 0.01% is still 1 million people, which again, I think I'm still off and it's probably more than that, but that's still a million bad actors. That is a ton of people all at one time. So again, it's not everybody, it's a small percentage. It's just that is a very big, small percent. Coinbase advises users against using a VPN to avoid getting wrongfully flagged by its internal security system. But the investigator said that scammers explicitly block VPNs from phishing sites, adding this shows Coinbase's failure to diagnose the actual problem. And this is what I mean. They don't even understand the technology enough to guide their users on what to do right and wrong or right from wrong. So again, it's not their fault. I would blame regulators for slow. Like, imagine they didn't have the regulation they had. They like it makes sense to make customers happy. So I could see Coinbase and everyone else putting way more money towards support if they didn't have to put more money toward the regulatory environment, compliance, lawyers, litigation, all this other stuff. So again, Coinbase is pushing back, saying this has happened, that happened. Zach XBT is pushing back, saying this is a rise of scams. People, need to take this serious. It looks like I think they actually wrote in here about this Casa co-founder Nick Newman. He was talking about how he spoke to a Coinbase scammer, and they said they make a minimum of 5 figures a week. They hit 35K 2 days ago. We do it for a reason. There's money to be made in it. The scammer revealed that they never actually target poor people and contact potential victims from a database containing information about people with at least 50K. It's funny they said that because I was just about to bring this up. This is what's messed up. And this is why pocket watching is wrong. And I also hate people who do this with like, if you're one of these people in the chat who's just like, if something happens bad to somebody with money, a billionaire, a millionaire, you're almost like, yeah, like they deserve it. It's like, I hate you people. I truly do. Like, you're a hater. Like, you're a hater. This is what America's based on. This is why we have the taxes the way we do. So I'm strongly against this whole pocket watching thing. And just because people have money, they deserve bad things to happen to them. That's not always true, right? And I want to bring this up because this article states that these scammers are like, yeah, we only hit accounts with at least 50K. We're not going after poor people. Like, what if their life savings is in the crypto and the Bitcoin? And that is 50K. 50K ain't shit in Southern California. 50K is enough to last you a year by yourself. Not much less if you have a family, you have a medical condition, you have a car accident, anything bad happens, right? So you're talking like I'm so against this. And when I was reading this article in my head, I was like, I hope it doesn't, like, they don't say that, because that was literally the number I was going to use when they're talking about if they go after rich or poor or whatever else. It was going to be 50K, because to some people, they hear the words 50K and they're like, oh, I'm rich. People go kill somebody for 50K, not realizing, man, you about to go to prison for the rest of your life, or at least 10 to 15, 20 years for what you could have made at a year and a half at McDonald's. That's not a lot of money, people. Is not. So I'm pushing back, and I hate that these hackers and people in these spaces think that, oh, well, they got 50K, they're rich, we can just go ahead and hack them. And it's like, yeah, unless that's their last 50K and they don't have a job, then what are they? They're like beyond poor. They're worse off. So it's like, I truly hate to see this. Clearly we have scammers on this channel too, and in our warrior channel. Unfortunately, we've seen it in the Discord, we see it in the chat all the time. And it's one of those things like, how much money y'all think we got over here? Go mess with BitBoy and them boys over there. That's bringing in 300,000 views to the show. Like that's where the capital's at, folks. Like this is crazy. So it's one of those things where people pocket watch, but they don't even understand real money. Nor do they understand real consequence, which is why they had like these hackers are so smart and stupid at the same time. And these are the younger ones. I guarantee these are the younger hackers. Like they read, it's so easy to read them. I won't say there is no, I don't think they'll be bragging like this, but I highly doubt there's hackers with their shit together. And by and large, you do have to, yeah, I'm gonna say it. There's no hackers out there 35 plus talking about some, yeah, we only going at the rich people, get at least 50K in their account. You're making it easy to find you. You're making it 17 to 28. Whoever these hackers are that's saying that are between the ages of 17 to 28. You're making it very easy to find you. Like, no, that is not a lot of money for the entire world or country or even an individual. Okay. It's good money. I will admit, if you got 50K liquidity and you just, hey, bills are paid, that's good money and you can make a lot of great money with it. But for people to come after a person with a 50K account to say, well, they're rich and this is deserved, man, that's a bad way of thinking. That's diabolical. That's truly terrible. That's so upsetting. All this negative stuff I have to say about it. Can't believe it, but it is what it is. All right. Last couple of stories. I can't believe, listen, I got to do better at keeping these stories 3 to 4 minutes, man. I be trying to keep this thing at 30 minutes. I can't do it. Ethereum tops $2.9 thousand as Eric Trump says it's a great time to add Ethereum. Eric Trump, who is involved in Trump's Family World Financial Liberty platform, told his followers it's a good time to buy Ether. He actually said more than that, if I remember. But here it is, his quote, in my opinion, it's a good time to add Ethereum. You can thank me, it is. You can thank me later, Trump wrote in a February 3rd X post. However, he has since edited the post to remove those last 5 words. You can thank me later. And I just want to point out again, this is all McAfee did. This is all McAfee was doing right here. He'll wake up and say, hey, you guys might want to buy some Stellar. Hey, this is a good time to buy some XYZ coin. You can thank me later. That is all McAfee did. And they said he was manipulating the market, insider trading, pump and dumping, everything else. They kidnapped him, imprisoned him illegally, enslaved him essentially, and then caused his demise. Yep, you got the president's son doing the exact same thing about 6-7 years later. What a time to be alive. Eric Trump's remarks came after a crypto market bloodbath across February 2nd and 3rd, triggered largely, I'm not going to say what it was triggered by. We talked about this in the past, and this is poor writing from Cointelegraph because, again, Bitcoin and crypto is global. There's many things that can trigger it. And let's not act like we know every event that happened in the last 24 to 48 hours. It's easy to say it was triggered by Trump's proposed tariffs and everything that's going on in the U.S. Somebody could say it was triggered based off a flight that went down. Why are flights going down in 2020? Like, you can't say that. You cannot just say off of this is one incident. We know that. So I'm not going to go there. But it looks like Ether had already recovered to around 2,700 before Trump's post. What I will say, if anything, it shows that the corporate interests are in Ethereum, and either Trump himself, the president, or his son, somebody got that tap on the shoulder from one of them companies. It's like, yo, you killing us right now. And they was like, we got you, say less. So insider trading, like I said, market manipulation. There is no reason at all for the president's son, knowing what type of power he has now, to just say, hey, you guys can thank me later. It's a good time to buy Ethereum. And let's not let Ethereum do anything in the next 3 to 4 weeks as far as from the government side of the house. It's going to be like, come on, man. Like, and again, this is from someone who's just saying, if we're going to play this game, no regulation, self-regulation. But don't play the game and then be like, well, we're going to go after people who accounts broach $20,000. You remember, this is the same Coinbase that gave the IRS everyone's customer data, like in circle. I've gotten the emails from it already saying, hey, just let you know, we were subpoenaed. We had to give this information. This is the same companies who's giving this information away. Which way is up? I don't know, but you got to love it. Yeah, there's no reason to be talking about Ethereum from Eric Trump unless he's trying to pump it, which clearly he is. And something's going on in the background, which we've already known to be true with their corporate interests and some of the ties they've had to organizations and governments. Not much of a story there, but it's very interesting that this market manipulation is now being allowed. Again, this is the Wild West. Not mad at it. Here's a time to make your capital, folks, and to sell off into the sunset. After Trump's gone, like I said, I think we're gonna have the other side of the house back, and it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly. So make what you can now. The days we have these 15% dips, these 10% dips, and so on and so forth, you have to make those big plays for the next day and get that capital. Yeah, somebody said I didn't see who. Somebody essentially said you can see him pardoning his son like Biden did. I can see that happening too. Biden pardoned his son. Why not let his son manipulate the market and buy and pardon him as well? I can see that happening. Let's see. Coop cheerleaders betraying their own country and fellow citizens and soldiers. If you're educated, you wouldn't be on Coinbase. I agree with that. If you were educated, you wouldn't be on Coinbase. So that kind of says it as well. Who has their coins on Coinbase? No keys, no cheese. Let's see. They understand how to guide the user to remove coins off exchanges, but they won't tell them that. No, I mean, again, the government wants the exchanges because that's an easier way for them to control it. They definitely don't want peer-to-peer. Let's see, what else do we have? Lying. I get Coinbase scam emails every week, and I do not have 50K on Coinbase. Who you telling? That's what I mean. Them Coinbase scammers are liars. I get like they fish everybody. They're just trying to sound altruistic so that you won't come after them. They're trying to sound good so we don't get the fires and everything else going and call the government on their ass. No, we only do it to rich people, guys, over 50K. And it's like, yeah, we know you lying. You sound like you're lying. All right. Last but not least, oh my goodness. More than 50% of validators signal to increase Ethereum gas limit. That's right. The Ethereum community has been debating whether to increase the gas limit, with some saying it would reduce fees, while others were worried it could destabilize the network if raised too high. All right. So I'm not going to go into the deep depths of this story. You can check it out if you want. It's on Cointelegraph, but also they're talking about it everywhere. Or you can actually go to like the GitHub, I'm sure, or go to Ethereum Foundation, and they will have even more information about it. But essentially, the scaling debate continues for Ethereum, something that Bitcoin saw back in 2017. Probably had to go back through it again once more, but at least for the short, long term, we solved it. And Ethereum has been trying to figure out this scaling issue for how many years now? I believe they have an upgrade coming up in a month or so. And here they are again talking about, hey, should we increase the gas limits? People are saying if you increase the gas limits, it should make the process of using Ethereum cheaper. We've heard that before. Others are saying what the real truth is, hey, if you get to messing with this code and you raise it too high, we can mess up the entire network. So now we got to find that sweet spot, which they're looking to do. I think they're saying they're trying to increase it to like 30 million or whatever it is right now. I'm not going to go into the details, but they've even said already after we increase it right now, we're probably going to need to do it here in the short-term future again. We're just not doing it to the level we need to do it at right now because it could destabilize the network. And they've actually acknowledged that is possibly true. It could possibly do it, which is why they're trying to baby step this thing through. The bottom line is this: they're still trying to do everything they can to decrease gas fees and to make their product workable, right? And my thing is this: that's fine, that's cool, that's good, but why are you a number 2 cryptocurrency at market cap if you don't have your stuff together? I almost went there. I tried to decrease the profanity that time. You don't have it together. You're not ready to be number 2. Bag on up out the race for a little bit. And I hate to even say this at this point, like Cardano is a competitor. Cardano is a legit competitor. With having nothing, they're still a legit competitor because even though you all have something, it can't be used. Like it can't be used. Imagine if every time you got hungry, I said, well, it costs $300 to eat. And you say, well, all I want is a sandwich, man. Like for breakfast, just give me a ham, bacon, egg, and cheese. For lunch, give me a ham sandwich. For dinner, I don't know, give me a pack of noodles. I'm like, okay, all right. Total cost be $20. And you're like, there we go. Here go my 20. I'm like, but it costs $300 to come in to eat. Like, wait. I don't get it. I have the $20 for the transaction, for the goods, plus a little on top of you. And I'm like, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, yes, you can have all this for $20 after you pay $300 to walk in here. That's essentially what's going on in Ethereum now, right? They do have the smart contracts. They do have the products. Like these things do work in a sense. You can spend your money, go in there and use the product or service. It just so happens it costs $300 every time you're trying to enter the club. Goodness gracious, I don't need to go in the club to get a drink. I want it to, but I don't have to, right? We have these other clubs now in the likes of Solana and now in the likes of Cardano. Well, Cardano isn't really a club. It's more like a lemonade stand with a sign and a sheet of paper saying, we will have a club. Sign up here and we got you. And then pay your $300 up front too, right? So it's something similar, but something kind of different. Here's the deal. Ethereum isn't where they need to be. They won't be where they need to be for a while. But from an investment point of view, let's bring it back to what I know some of you like to talk about. Hey, the president's son is still tweeting about it. They are doing upgrades. They are still trying to stir that community interest. I think they're doing it at a right time when we may see another big pump. So with that being said, I get it as an investment, but even then, like I said, it can't even touch $4,000 without Bitcoin. So I won't lie, when I'm looking at mixing and matching my portfolio, if something is on the horizon where I see a clear, easy win as far as easy money from Ethereum, yeah, okay, go for it, right? The update is in 6 weeks. If you want to be speculative, whatever, it should go up to 3,200. All right, it's at 29 now. You get a nice little percentage boost. But if I was talking long term, I'm almost officially off it. I'm almost officially off it from an investment USD point because who cares about one Ethereum to one Ethereum? But yeah, I would honestly, even along the likes of Cardano, even along the likes of Cardano, especially Solana, Sui, like, yeah, now there's officially competitors, and Ethereum, you're not the top. The only thing Ethereum has that the rest of those three doesn't, I won't even say has, that they don't, has more of, and that's backing. They have more corporate backing, they have more government backing, they have more technological backing right now. But that's it. If some of those backers were to flip and say, you know what, this is taking too long and I'm not seeing the return I thought I was going to get, and I decided to go over to one of those smaller ones I just mentioned, like I said, 9%, 8%, 7% Ethereum dominance is incoming here in the next 6 to 8 months. Expect it and be ready for it. That is it. All right. Other than that, that is the show for the day. I went 46 minutes. I keep going long. I try to go short. I'll work on it. Other than that, let me look at the last couple of comments. Price Cobb said Wire has a good article naming the adult, I think it's adult engineers under Elon stealing America. How you hating from outside the club? You can't even get in. You already know it. Cardano said we got ice but no drinks. Exactly. That's exactly what Cardano is. I like that. I like that. 18 plus young adults working for the Doge coup plotters. Oh, that's what y'all meant when y'all said a coup. I agree. This is a coup. This is treason. I'm telling you, we need to try these people for treason. I'm not joking. I smile when I say to be positive, but I am not joking. Keep-A-Line, what up, though? Said they put the photos of the kids that were working with Elon that's taking the information. Oh, Elon do got some kids for real? Oh, man. Oh, man. He do got a bunch of, listen, he got a bunch of little young hackers working for him. Listen, I say we make examples out of all of them, all right? Make examples out of a whole lot of these thugs. I'm tired of seeing them. Smash that like and share, and I will see you all tomorrow with some more of this good old crypto.